Okay, good morning. This is the Oldham County Board of Adjustments and Appeals meeting on Wednesday, August 6th at 9 a.m. I'm going to go through the kind of what happens here in the agenda. So I'm calling the meeting to order. First thing we'll do is swear in staff. Then we'll have an introduction of the application by the board secretary. We'll have a staff report and questions by the board for each application. We'll have a presentation by the applicant or the legal representative of the applicant. And just to head things off at the pass, any corporation or LLC needs to have legal representation, and if they don't, then they cannot present today. Then we'll have testimony from or questioning of the applicant or representative. That will last 20 minutes. Then we'll have testimony from anybody speaking in favor of the applicant with a maximum time of 10 minutes with questions from the board. And then we'll have testimony from anyone opposing the applicant. That'll last no more than 10 minutes with anyone, with the board then talking to them. And then we'll have a rebuttal by the applicant for 5 minutes, a rebuttal by the opposition that's no more than 5 minutes, and then final statements by the opposition that's no more than 5 minutes with no new testimony, final statement of the applicant for 5 minutes with no new testimony, and then final questioning by the board of any party, and then a board discussion and motion, and then the final decision. So for each application, that's the process. So with that, the first thing to do is to swear in staff.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, and then the first application on the docket this morning, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's OC 25-31.
An application has been requested for a road frontage variance for property located at 1309 South Buckeye Lane in Goshen.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, John Hine, Oldham County Planning Division. An application has been filed requesting a road frontage variance for a newly proposed 4.617 acre lot located at 1309 South Buckeye Lane in Goshen. The zoning is AG1 agricultural and CO1 conservation. Land use is residential. The total acreage of the lot currently is 8.1 acres. There's no previous site history. For our case history, the agenda was posted to the planning website on the 24th of July in 2025. Adjoining property owner notices were mailed on the 24th as well of July, and public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on the 31st of July, all of 2025. Here's the aerial of the lot currently in question and the zoning, the CO1 and the AG1 split. While we're on this slide, this comes into discussion later. This is the right-of-way as it's currently designated with the county. County Engineer Jim Silliman will be able to speak to that later as well. Part of the plan will be to extend a road down this existing right-of-way. The applicant proposes creating a new 4.617 acre lot known as proposed Lot 1. The residual Lot 2 is 3.501 acres. The lot currently has no road frontage, but is considered an existing legal non-conforming lot. Again, here we have the current shape of the lot with the deeded ingress, egress access through this road here that's owned outright by an adjoining property owner. Here we have the proposed lot being created, and as part of the plans, that involves extending this roadway on South Buckeye Lane down the existing county right-of-way. The residual lot will still continue to take access through that deeded ingress egress. Both lots will require a road frontage variance, as the division will cause the residual lot to lose its existing legal non-conforming status. Sections 020-020 and 030-020 state that the required road frontage for property zoned AG1 or CO1 that is 2.5 acres or greater is 300 feet. The newly proposed 4.67 acre lot would have 40 feet of road frontage, therefore requiring a 260-foot variance, and the residual 3.5 acre lot would have 0 feet of road frontage, therefore requiring a 300-foot variance. We have a site photo looking up the private road, the access easement. The lot in consideration would be to the right side over here. This is looking towards the deeded right-of-way. It's currently just blocked by a gate, and the road stops just back behind this picture here, just kind of dead ends. And then again, looking towards the lot with the gate over here. Here we have the ordinances as they're written, 300 feet for 2.5 acres or more in both conservation and AG1. And in summary, the applicant is requesting a 260-foot road frontage variance for the newly proposed 4.617 acre lot and a 300-foot road frontage variance for the residual 3.5 acre lot. Again, we have that described here with 300 feet required road frontage, requested road frontage of 40 feet, and then a 260-foot variance requested for Lot 1. Conditions of approval of this motion would be that the road frontage variance shall apply only to the plan considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. A minor plat must be submitted to the Oldham County Department of Planning and Development Services to be approved at staff level, and plans for the extension of South Buckeye Lane must be submitted to and approved by the Oldham County engineer prior to being issued a building permit. For Lot 2, we have the required road frontage of 300 feet, the requested road frontage of 0 feet, and the variance requested being 300 feet. Potential conditions of approval for this motion would be the road frontage variance shall only apply to the plan considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing, and that a minor plat must be submitted to the Oldham County Department of Planning and Development Services to be approved at staff level. Any questions?
I have a question. So, back to the map, like, I don't know, like the third slide or so that you presented.
Which one? Excuse me.
This-
Oh, yes.
So if I'm looking at that correctly, South Buckeye Lane, is that the very end of South Buckeye Lane?
Yes, currently it terminates right about here with the road, the private driveway heading up this way.
Are there any plans in the 15-year road plan or the 20-year road plan to extend Buckeye Lane any further or do anything with it?
I would defer that to Mr. Silliman.
No.
No? Okay, thank you. Good. All right. Okay, that's all.
Another question. How many homes are on the private driveway?
Currently, there are 3 that access this.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the next thing is the presentation by the applicant or their legal representative?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ms. Edgar, Mr. Baxter, good morning. My name is Mike Swansburg with the law firm of Swansburg & Smith, 117 West Main Street here in LaGrange. I also have with me this morning Jason Black, who is the owner and the applicant here as well, and Morris Talbot, who is the engineer. Mr. Chairman, if we want everyone, just in the event that there are questions, to stand and be sworn in at this point, we'll go ahead and do that now if that's
We should
what
do
you would
that.
like to do.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right. Members of the board, again, good morning. I don't want to belabor too much of what Mr. Hines said, who did a great job kind of explaining this. There is it's a kind of a tricky situation given that we've got an existing property that's legal nonconforming. We want to split the tracts up. Now we're asking for variances. What does that mean at the end of the day? So I'm going to try my best to go ahead and explain this. In addition to that, there was some discussion this morning with the neighbors to the east of the lot as well, who also are the owners, I believe, of that of that private road. And we've actually got a pretty good arrangement and agreement from our perspective to address at least one issue that had come up that I'll explain as part of this discussion as well, that hopefully means everybody is good to go with this. So let's talk a little bit about that proposal. The request, again, is that we're coming before the Board of Adjustments. What I would actually say is we're seeking 2 road variances for the property that's located, again, at 1309 South Buckeye Lane in Goshen. And Mr. Hine did a great job talking again about this part here is kind of the right-of-way, the unimproved version of South Buckeye Lane. This is a private drive here. It is not owned by either the county or the state at this point, or potentially at any point, quite frankly. So we're talking again about this highlighted area here in blue. And just for the emphasis on the zoning, at this point, applicant intends to split them into 2 new parcels that's already been discussed, and I'll get to that more here in a second. But both of these are already designated either as CO1, which is the green here you see, at least what I see is green, and then what I see as purple, that's Ag 1, each of which, as Mr. Hine already explained, require the same road frontage of 300 feet. So in other words, you have to have a frontage adjacent to your road of about 300 feet in order for it to be conforming with the Oldham County zoning ordinance for those 2 types of zones. You've already seen this image, but I want to talk a little bit more about this. So given the anticipated split of the parcel, so right now, as Mr. Hine indicated, this is the existing parcel right here, the one that you just saw on the map that was highlighted in blue. And what the applicant is proposing to do is split it into 2 different lots. Right now you see 4.67 acres and then 3.501 acres. Again, after discussion this morning with the neighbors and also with the applicant, that when the time comes for the applicant to actually file a plat, these 2 are both going to be in excess of 4 acres. So this is going to actually shorten up to be a little less than 4.6. This is going to exceed 4, but for the sake of this discussion, both of these are going to be more than 4 acres. And that is to meet some concerns about some potential deed restrictions. There's a lot of confusion about some papers related to these particular properties, given its history, but to ensure that there is no issue at this point, just for everyone's benefit, the 2 lots are going to be 4 acres or more. So we'll just go ahead and say that on the record as well. So again, wants to subdivide this and is asking for a variance for this first lot here of 260 feet. Why? And I'll tell you in a second a little bit more about this, because they're going to add 40 feet of road frontage by extending South Buckeye Lane 40 feet down this way, which means they're going to have they're going to need a variance of 260 feet because they won't have a full 300 feet of frontage along a county or state road. This parcel over here will have 0 frontage to any road that is county or state owned. This is a private driveway. It doesn't count for purposes of the ordinance. So what we're asking, again, is a 300-foot variance for this lot, which already has a residence on it, which has access to this road by virtue of an easement that was granted by the owners some time ago.
Can you go back to that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I'm still confused by this map. So that
Yeah.
when you say they are going to extend South Buckeye Lane,
Right.
looks like with to be paved. So I don't understand that. I just so the South Buckeye Lane end right now where that blue circle is?
South Buckeye Lane actually ends at this intersection here, and I'll show you a picture of it where actually you can see the divergence between the road, the private road, and the residual, if you will, or unimproved section. But right here is where the road ends. So the county road starts and goes up this way. Private drive starts here and goes this way. The road, and I'll show you again in a picture here in a second, ends here. So it's just grass to a gate that goes into the woods, basically.
So that area that's below the blue circle, that's all just hypothetical?
But the county has a right-of-way for the road. If they ultimately want to extend it down to a certain point, they can. And I don't want to speak for the county or Mr. Silliman in that particular sense, but that is my understanding, is that the county actually has a right-of-way to extend South Buckeye Lane if it so chooses at some point. But what the applicant is going to do is work with the county and they're going to extend it 40 feet to this point so that they can put a new driveway into proposed lot 1. So again, that 40-foot extension gives them 40 feet of frontage but they need 300 feet to conform with the regulations. So they're asking for a variance of 260 feet.
Got it. So it's all just a private road right now, or will be a private road?
Well, South Buckeye will actually extend this 40 feet. And my understanding is that that will be part of the county road. Is that correct?
Oh, so that will be a county road. Okay.
Yes, and they'll work with the county to make sure that they're meeting all the requirements for the county in terms of what the county would require, in terms of the pavement, for example, any grading that's going to be necessary, all that good stuff that would be done as part of a county road. They will be working with the county to make sure they meet all the requirements for extending a county road to this point. But the county that will be a 40-foot extension of the county road.
Okay.
Does that answer your question,
Thank you.
sir?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Again, there's a lot, it's a tricky situation, but hopefully it's pretty straightforward at the end of the day. So again, as a lawyer, I always like to talk about what's the law in this case, what are you all looking at when you're talking about variances. Let's start with state law first. KRS 100.243 sub 1 provides that boards of adjustment in the Commonwealth may grant variances for established spatial requirements, right? So we're talking dimensions of lots only after finding that, quote, the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or a nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations, right? So again, make sure you're not impeding the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood, you're not changing the essential character, you're not creating a nuisance for anybody, and it's not an unreasonable request at the end of the day. Those are essentially what the state says you should be looking at. The county also has an ordinance too, and for your benefit, before any variance is granted, boards of adjustments must look for the following. One, or A, the strict application of the provisions of the regulation. So the strict applications of the road frontage regulation in this instance would deprive the applicant of a reasonable use of the land in the manner equivalent to the use permitted other landowners of the same zone. So what's good for someone else should be good for the applicant in this case. And if you require them to follow the strict application of an ordinance, then that will deprive them of an opportunity to use that land in a manner that everyone else around them that has the same situation will be allowed to do. So you're essentially treating them differently, for lack of a better term. That the unique conditions, so this is B, that the unique conditions and circumstances are not the result of actions of the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of the zoning regulations, and C, reasons that the variance will preserve, not harm the public safety and welfare, and will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. So again, strict application would deprive them of the use of the land. The circumstances were not created by the owner prior to or subsequent to the adoption of the zoning ordinance, and it will preserve, not harm the public safety and welfare. That gets back to what the state requires again. Those are the requirements for you all to find to grant a variance here in Oldham County. Again, historical context, put this back into perspective. We talk a little bit about this, so I'm going to reiterate it just in case. So up until now, the parcel has had no frontage on any county or state road, as I mentioned. Buckeye Lane ends here. Here's where the property starts. The only frontage, if you will, quote unquote, has been on a private road. So it doesn't count for purposes of the ordinance. And a right-of-way also does not count. The county actually would have to extend South Buckeye Lane in order for that to count as road frontage. So there has been no frontage on this, making it a legal non-conforming lot. And it's that way because that's how it existed at the time the county enacted the ordinance. So it was grandfathered in when the county enacted the ordinances to put those requirements into place. So this is how it had existed before all the requirements were put into place. So again, as we say, it's legal non-conforming. It means it's illegal, but if there are any changes to be made, then it ceases to get that designation, all right? That means you have to go and you have to follow the ordinance if you make any changes to the property. The only access to the existing residence that we talked about just a second ago has been through an easement granted on a private road owned by, actually, it's the Mr. and Mrs. Handmaker, who Mr. Handmaker is here, as you can see on here. So by splitting the parcel, as I mentioned, that legal non-conforming designation will cease to exist. So they want to take the parcel and they want to split it into two, which everyone else is allowed to do who's got a CO1 or an AG1 property. They want to split their property to develop it. which means that when they do that, that legal non-conforming designation will cease to exist at that point. So this is a preemptive request on their part. They want to split the property up and they want to get the variances to make sure they can do that legally so that they can actually move forward with developing the property in those two states. So I talked a little bit about this with the chairman, but I wanted to just highlight it for you again. So to remedy this again, the applicant proposes to extend South Buckeye Lane, the county road, by 40 feet. It ends here. They're going to extend it down 40 feet. As I talk about, this is the extended pavement. They're also going to replace a culvert that's located here with a newer, bigger system. And they are going to insert a new proposed driveway at this juncture where it meets with the new county road extension. Okay, so again, they're going to extend the county road down here by 40 feet, and they're going to join it with the property by virtue of a new driveway at that extension. Okay, and like I said, they're also going to replace the culvert that's there with a new system. All of this will be done in conjunction with the county, of course, who's going to have its own requirements for how the road is developed, any culverts that are going to be replaced. All that will have to be worked out with the county at the time that they go forward with this process, assuming you all grant these variances. So, Mr. Hine showed you some photos. I took one that actually was further back, which I think hopes to illustrate what we're looking at here. So at this point, the road to the left is that private road that we talked about, right? This is the road owned by the handmakers that goes down this way. This is Buckeye Lane right here, South Buckeye Lane. Essentially goes behind you. If you're looking at the photo, it goes that way up the road. But the county's right-of-way goes this way. And it ends here. So what they're proposing to do is extend 40 feet going this way. So if you're looking at the photo here, this is where we're talking about the 40-foot extension that I showed you on that overhead map. If the board denies a request, of course, the applicant, so they talk about that deprivation of use. Again, this is one of those requirements that the county says you need to have if you're going to approve a variance of this sort. If you don't approve it, what we would submit to you is that it will deprive the applicant of a permitted use for the land as he sees fit. In other words, to subdivide and develop the property, which every other similarly zoned property owners are permitted to do all the time in this county. CO1, Ag 1, they've got certain requirements. They can subdivide. For example, there are minimum requirements, of course, with that, but they can do that all the time. By not allowing these particular variances, you're not going to allow them to do that because the minute they try to subdivide, it's going to be legal nonconforming and they'll have to be back to you anyway. So they're not going to be able to divide the land unless you actually grant them the variances. We talked about pre-existing conditions. That's that second prong at sub B that's in the county ordinance. So additionally, the conditions giving rise to the present issue existed prior to the establishment of the current zoning scheme. Again, the parcel as it sits now is, quote, legal nonconforming, which means that it existed without proper road frontage at the time the zoning ordinance was enacted. So again, the right-of-way existed. There was no road here. This is a private drive. So when the ordinance was passed, this had no frontage at the time anyway. So it didn't meet the requirements at the time the ordinance was passed. We're trying to ask you all for variances so that it will now comport with the ordinance. The third part, that's part of that regulation we talked about, and what we would submit to you again is that if the proposal will advance the health, safety, and welfare of the population by the establishment of an additional county road space. So again, we're extending the county road by 40 feet and replacement of the existing inadequate, and I spelled inadequate wrong, infrastructure. But again, we're talking about actually improving this area here in conjunction with the county, and that's something that the applicant is willing to take on as part of this particular development. So working with the county, all the requirements of the county, but it will actually improve this area, we believe, by virtue of an extension of the road to meet county requirements. In summary, hopefully I haven't confused everybody. The applicant requests approval of a variance of the road frontage requirements of 260 feet for the proposed Lot 1, which again will be just more than 4 acres, and a variance of the road frontage requirements of 300 feet for the proposed Parcel 2, which will also be more than 4 acres. Because again, right now, this has 0. It's going to have 40 extended, so you need 260 feet to meet the requirements. In terms of a variance, this will have 0 road frontage, so it needs a 300-foot variance to meet the requirements of the ordinance. And by approving this request, the board will prevent the applicant from being deprived of his right to the proper use, i.e. subdividing and developing the property as enjoyed by similarly situated property owners. The conditions necessitating this request were not created by the applicant and existed at the time of the zoning ordinance was enacted, and approval of this request, we again will argue, will promote, not harm, the public safety, health, and welfare through the creation of additional county road and new infrastructure, and will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. I went through a lot of information there, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you all might have. Okay.
I have a
Mr. Chair.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
So are other properties in that area similar in size to these 2 4-acre tracts?
The answer to that, well, it depends on which property it is. If you all, do you all know that answer? In terms of the similar, I think they're actually bigger. Do you know? Morris, you want to come on up? I'm not sure if I can ask Mr. Handmaker Stamp to come on up if you're okay with that. I know his property is right here. I'm not sure if you want to indicate what the size is as well, sir. I know it's a little unorthodox to ask you all to come up, but if you want. Sure. Just because the question is asked at this point, might as well. Mr. Chairman, if that's okay with them.
We'll have to have them sworn in and give their name and address.
Sure.
Come on up to the podium, please.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Kenneth Handmaker, and I reside at 1307 South Buckeye Lane in Goshen. With respect to Mike's question, we have 2 parcels that combined are 29 acres, a drop over 29 acres, one of which includes the access road that we own. The lot to the north, I guess, of the subject property is a little over 6 acres. So you've got 6 acres, you've got 8.08 acres of this property, and then you've got 18 and 11, which are ours.
Thank you.
And then, of course, we're surrounded by Elder Miller's property at Mason Lane, which is probably 2,000 acres.
Okay, thank you. All right, is that the end of your presentation?
That's the end of my presentation, but I'm again happy to answer any questions you all might have at this point.
Is there a shared maintenance agreement for the private roadway?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Is there a shared maintenance agreement for the private roadway?
There's not a maintenance agreement for the private roadway, right? There was an easement for access to it, but there's not a shared maintenance agreement, it's my understanding.
Okay.
If you want to add to it, sure.
My name is Mike Gregory, by the way. I'm an attorney. I represent the Handmakers and also Legal Angels Farm, which is actually the entity that owns the 18-acre tract that Mr. Handmaker was talking about. Office address is 6100 Dutchman's Lane, Suite 1100, Louisville 40205, just for the record. And no, Mr. Swansberg has done a really nice job of kind of cutting to the chase. It's a really unusual situation down there. There's no shared maintenance agreement. There has been access granted dating back to, I think, 1977, and where the original 60-foot roadway that is now owned by the Handmakers, or actually it's owned by Legal Angels Farm in their deed. Somehow or another, I'm not sure how that happened, but that became a completely private roadway. But the lot owners, which included the Tafts, who are successors in interest to the original owner, were all granted access via that road originally. So that's how, in short, how it works.
Okay.
So for this extra 40 feet of roadway that's being proposed, is there an agreement with the county on who will maintain that once it's built?
I'll let the county engineer talk about that, ma'am.
Yeah, we met with the applicant and discussed that in order for this to happen, they would have to construct that in accordance with the current county road pavement standards. We also discussed the culvert. I understand that it's probably undersized. There's an existing culvert there right now. It's undersized. They're going to provide calculations to show that the replacement culvert is appropriately sized for that. My only request in addition to the what's shown is it might have to be excuse me, more than 40 feet in length. Talking with our road superintendent, that is plowed with a full-size dump truck. So I think that extension needs to be long enough for them to be able to perform a three-point turn. You know, we call it a hammerhead turnaround. But I could work with the engineer to ensure that we meet the geometric requirements for that vehicle to be, because once we take it over, we'll be plowing that additional segment and would need to maintain it. So that would be my requirement.
So, but you don't have the specific, like, so if we were to approve this today, you don't have the dimensions of exactly what that would need to be?
No, you would approve it based on the fact that, or the understanding that they would design it to our standards, and that would come to my office for review and approval before we even accept it into the county road maintenance system.
Thank you.
And just for the record, too, that the applicant has every intention of doing that in terms of meeting with the county and meeting the county standards for those improvements. Okay. Thank you all.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Next on would be the testimony from anyone speaking in favor of the applicant. Hearing none. Testimony from anyone opposing the applicant?
This is kind of a hybrid. I'm not really sure that we oppose. It's just a question of whether we, and Mr. Swansburg described that we reached an agreement on the restrictions on the lots, which was something that was important to my client when they bought the property. And then our other concerns, in fact, which some of which have been sort of depicted, but I want to kind of illustrate them a little bit better if I can figure out how to run the machine. John, thank you for coming to the rescue. You'd think I'd know this by now. Oh, okay.
So we need to,
I did
There we
not have this prepared for the board today, and I apologize for that. So I'm just going to be showing you the picture on the screen. This is a depiction of the confluence of drainage that comes from, if you look right here, this is where the county road ends. There's a gate across it. I don't know how many feet that is, or who's gated it, or what. We're not really sure, unless it's Miss Miller who owns the property behind. And that's something that may have to be dealt with, but when the time comes. But our biggest concern is the drainage, and especially this point where the water comes down, which would be the side of the applicant's property now. And then also this drainage, which comes, it's to the side of the road. We don't know for certain whether that drainage is located on the applicant's property or whether it's on the Legal Angel's property, which is who owns the road. But this drainage hits this one point and overflows the bottom of the road these days with some frequency. We think, have complete confidence in the county's requirements, the county engineers' specifications on how this will all be dealt with, but we do want to point out that for our perspective, to the extent that we would oppose this application, it's solely to make sure that these items are addressed, because that's something that's going to affect everyone later on. Now, whether the addition of another house, the driveway that they're proposing actually improves or not, I think as presented, it's going to improve this situation. As long as there are proper culverts, the county road standards are met, the engineering things that I don't understand and wouldn't even pretend to try to, recite to you guys on this, but that is one very important thing to our client as far as this application is concerned. The other thing we have a question about, and I don't know if it's been addressed or thought about, what the addition of a house will do to fire protection. We have, as far as, I don't know where, we have one hydrant on our property. The handmakers have a hydrant on their property. But we don't know how the fire service will be, or whether there's been any consideration given to that, or how that even affects this application. But it's something that I wanted to get on the record. Those are he's addressed the lot sizes. That wasn't something that would have necessarily been, for you guys to deal with today, but now that we have that agreement, it's not something we have to worry about. It's just a question of whether we address the drainage and then that fire protection question.
So
Thank you.
if they improve the culvert, that will improve your lot, correct?
It seems to me that it would, yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're, what we've talked about is making sure that we have access to the plan when it's produced to the county engineer, so that, we can understand it too and make sure that we feel, but I mean, standing here today, I have confidence that that will work itself out, frankly.
Okay, the picture you presented with the pink flags in it, what are the pink flags for? Or what is-
Well, not sure, I don't know, at one point, Mr. Talbot may have flagged it. Those are not ours, but he can explain that probably since he's here and has been sworn in. They're not there anymore, but they were there when this picture was taken.
Morris Talbot, 319 Tucker Station Road, Louisville, Kentucky, 40243. At one time, we were looking at seeing if we could get any proposed entrance at this location, and it turned out to be rather skewed, and county engineer was not too happy with it, so that's the reason we backed up and decided to go ahead and create the short segment of roadway and clean it up by adding proper size drainage structure there. So you can ignore those flags at this point in time.
Okay.
And I did look at some of the lot sizes out there. They range from very large down to most of the lots in the subdivision. There's actually a subdivision, I don't know the name of it. Buckeye Trace. Most of those lots in there are a little over 3 acres or 5 acres or somewhere along in there. So.
Okay.
In case it, matters or provides any illumination, when this property was originally purchased from Belknap Heirs in 1976, and at that time, restrictions were imposed at 2-acre lot minimums. And then at some point, the people who bought the property, there were originally 3 partners in a partnership, in a sort of haphazard manner, imposed the 4-lot restrictions. And it took a while to figure that out. Mr. Swansburg hadn't had time even to get into it. It's just something I happened on in the course of looking into my client's concerns. So.
Okay.
If I didn't say that correctly, it's 4-acre lot minimums.
Right. Yeah, you said, okay.
That's us for now, unless there's questions.
All right. So the next thing would be rebuttal by the applicant. Anything?
Again, no rebuttal necessarily, just a reaffirmation that obviously whatever standards, as we talked about before here, that the county imposes for this improvement, the applicant has every intention of following to make sure that this comports with all the regulations and requirements to make that as a good space as possible. So I just want to make sure that that's stated on the record as well.
I have a question for you. So,
Yes, sir.
So it sounds like we need to put a condition of approval in here that it will comply with the county engineer's road standards for. Is it in there? Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we're good with that, of course.
And you're good with that? Okay. Good.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any other further rebuttal on that front.
Rebuttal by the opposition?
I think we just would request, I'm not sure how to characterize it, but we would request a condition on the fire protection as well. Just to make sure that that's addressed, and I'm assuming that it would be.
So Ryan Fisher, Director, Oldham County Planning. So just keep in mind, when you all are approving these, okay, there are sets of conditions of approval with all of these that a lot of times pertain to things that will take place after you all choose to either approve or deny. And so one of those in there that John had already mentioned was the road would have to be to the county engineer's standard, and he would have to approve that. The other one is a minor plat application would need to be submitted and approved by staff. In that process, emails go out to all the agencies that have anything to do with this case at all. And so one of those is the fire department. They will then comment whether or not fire protection is adequate in that area. So all of that takes place not in the course of this hearing, but in anything subsequent approvals that take place at the staff level, which are in the conditions of approval that you all will cite with your motion. So a lot of the things that we're talking about will get covered later on through staff approvals and processes. So the fire department is one of those that will be notified in fire protection.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
And we're obviously satisfied with that.
All right, good.
Have to be.
So next is final statements from the opposition. Sounds like final statements from the applicant.
Again, just final statement from ours, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you. Great questions, by the way. Really appreciate the thought you all are giving to this particular proposal. It's not the most straightforward one. I will grant you that. In terms of, I really appreciate Mr. Handmaker's and everyone's contributions really to this particular process. We would again just ask that you approve these particular variance requests so that the applicant can subdivide this property and develop it consistent with all the requirements that the county will require at that time. To make sure again that it enables them to use it in a manner that they are able to, and that other similarly situated properties can. That is based on conditions that existed at the time or prior to the applicant getting involved, and they're not the fault of the applicant, and also because it helps promote the health, safety, and welfare of the area. Again, improves this area by extending this area and addressing some of these concerns that we've heard about as well. So we would we again ask you, based upon those, consistent with the ordinance, consistent with state law, to approve the two requests for frontages variances as we've submitted on this front. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for your time, and thank you for your questions and your thoughtfulness.
Okay. Final questions from the board of any party? Okay, then we're closing the floor for presentations and board discussion and motion time.
I see no problem.
No, I'm okay with it. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't even be necessary. The first lot variance wouldn't be necessary if the road was already improved. It has the potential to actually become null in the future if that road is improved. And the second one seems to be adequately serviced by the private road.
Okay. So we're going to have two motions, right, for the first and the second variance. And Barry informed me, our counsel informed me after the last meeting that we need to incorporate by reference in our motions the testimony that was provided today as well. Is that right? Okay. So we're ready, I think, for the first motion.
Again, OC 25031, move to approve the variance of 300 feet of 260 feet for Lot 1, because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations. Because it would not be necessary if the road had already been improved by the county, and has the potential to become null in the future if that road is fully developed, as seen in today's public hearing.
Okay.
You've got some conditions of approval, too.
Thank you. The road frontage variance shall only apply to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. And secondly, a minor plat application and survey must be submitted to staff for review and approval prior to the issuance of any building permits. And 3, just to specifically outline it, the road improvements will be up to the county's standards.
You don't have any objection to that, do you, Mr. Swansburg? The third one?
No.
And it's based upon the testimony at the hearing today.
Yeah, as seen in today's public hearing.
Okay. Good enough. All,
Need a second.
need a second.
I'll second the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? First one carries. And then the second variance.
OC 25031 for Lot 2, move to approve the variance of 300 feet because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements for zoning regulations. Because the lot is currently served by an existing private driveway with adequate capacity to serve the area. As far as conditions of approval, same ones, that the road frontage variance shall only apply to the public, or to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. A minor plat application and survey must be submitted to staff for review and approval prior to the issuance of any building permits, as seen in today's public hearing.
You've got an adequate motion. You've got an adequate motion.
Adequate, okay. Thank you.
Second.
Second. All in favor, or discussion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you all.
Okay. The next item on the docket is OC 25-32. Mr. Secretary, if you could introduce it, please.
An application has been filed requesting a side yard setback variance, a front yard parking variance, front yard building variance for property located at 4701 West Highway 146.
Good morning, Anna Barge.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get going, I needed to introduce Laura Trapp. I neglected to do that at the beginning. She was sworn in prior to the meeting, and she's our newest member to the board. And I'm the vice chair, acting as chair right now for anybody who's interested. And so we'll deal with who's in which seat after at the next meeting. Okay, thank you, Anna.
Awesome. Anna Barge, Senior Planner. I am going to be doing my staff report for docket number OC-25-032. An application has been filed requesting a side yard setback variance, front yard parking variance, and front yard building variance for property located at 4701 West Highway 146. So the zoning at the site is I2, heavy industrial. The land use is undeveloped, and the acreage is 2.46 acres. So in 2023, a minor plat was approved for Tract 1, the existing 2.46 acre tract that we're considering today, and Tract 2, the existing building, and 2.285 acres. So when looking at the map that I'm going to show you, the PVA hadn't drawn in that line for the minor plat that was recorded in 2024. And so I, in my presentation, created my own non-legal line so you can kind of have an idea of it. Keep in mind, it's not survey grade, not that any of our online maps are survey grade, but just so you have a general idea of where it is and to reduce confusions. The agenda was posted to the website on July 24th with mailings going out the same day for the special meeting, and the public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on July 31st. So here is the actual minor plat that was approved in 2023. You'll see those lines there. And then there's my line that I created for our GIS, so you can kind of get an idea. And that parcel ID is for the lot we're considering today. So I did have our GIS manager correct the map. You'll see that down below, there's R4 zoning for those apartments, but the map that he created for the staff packets is actually incorrect. It does not have that R4. So just keep in mind that there is R4 zoning below. So for my notes, the applicant is requesting a side yard setback variance, a front yard building variance, and a front yard parking variance for the 2.46 for a 6-acre tract to build two 9,940 square feet structures. We really don't see a lot of front yard building variance or front yard parking variances because this is only for industrial areas. You don't have this in residential areas or really that often in commercial areas. So that's why we're hearing that today. So according to Oldham County Zoning Ordinance 200-020, the side yard setback requirement is 35 feet. The applicant is requesting a variance of 25 feet for the side yard setback to allow for a side yard setback of 10 feet. For the front yard building setback, the requirement is 100 feet, and they're requesting a variance of 30 feet for the front yard building setback to allow for a front yard building setback of 70 feet. According to Ordinance 200-020, the front yard parking setback requirement is 35 feet, and the applicant is requesting a variance of 25 feet for the front yard building setback to allow for a front yard parking setback of 10 feet. So here is that zoning ordinance where it says the front yard setback for structures is 100 feet, and then for parking areas is 35 feet, and for side yard is 35 feet. So here's the plan, so you can visualize. So you can visualize it. There's that 10 feet requested side yard setback right here and here, and then the 10 feet for the parking area and 70 feet for the proposed building setback. So here is the area from Google Street View. This was taken last fall. So you can kind of get an idea of the area. Keep in mind this building is on a separate tract of land. So in summary, there's going to be 3 variances, and you can do them in 3 different motions. For the first one, the proposed side yard setback variance is, the required side yard setback variance is 35 feet. The requested is 10 feet. So the variance that they're asking for is a 25-foot variance. For the front yard building setback variance, the required front yard building setback is 100 feet. The requested front yard building setback is 70 feet. So the variance that they're requesting is 30 feet. And lastly, for the front yard building setback variance, the required front yard sorry, I just said building instead of parking. The required front yard parking setback is 35 feet, and the requested is 10 feet for another 25-foot variance. So they will all have the same conditions of approval, so I just did one slide for that today. The variance shall only apply to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments hearing, and they must submit a landscaping and lighting plan for administrative review.
Anna, can you pull up this picture here?
Mm-hmm.
That one. So can we just talk about exactly where those setback variances would be as we're looking at the picture?
Yeah, so the side yard will be on this side.
Right, where the trees are?
Yes.
Okay.
And where this area is.
Right.
And then the front yard, or the front building is here, and the front parking is here.
What is that? Is that a building in front of the trees?
That's just a parking lot or just
parking
gravel.
lot. Okay.
I don't know if the gravel is still there today or not. This is just aerial footage. Sometimes it's old.
And then the other one?
Those are the 3 variances, 2 from the front and 1 for the side.
Oh, 2 from the front. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because in industrial, you have both parking setback and variance setback.
Got it.
So you have, for setback for structures and a setback for parking area.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you. That's good. Thank you.
Okay. And I did receive one letter of opposition, which I provided to you today, and it's from the people on the south side that have this apartment, and I'll just read it if now is okay time to read it. Okay. So this is from Dan Freese, who owns Freese Property Investments and Mission Commercial Properties. They're out of California. Christy, would you like me to give you that address? Okay. So we own the neighboring property to the south subject of the subject property, our property is Buckner Point Apartments, which is 64 units contained in 4 buildings. Our multifamily property is residential use. We are concerned about the proposed heavy industrial use being developed closer to the front property line than dictated by current zoning standards. We have reviewed the applicant's justification for the variance and do not feel it is necessary due to the existing infrastructure. It appears the project can be easily developed within the code mandated setbacks, especially the front yard. Please inform the board that we are very concerned about moving noxious industrial impacts closer to residential units than necessary, simply for the developer to save a few dollars on infrastructure connections. And then the co-owner responded as well. Ms. Barge, as the co-owner of this property, share these concerns and the potential impact of the residents of our property. We certainly do not want a development that would diminish our property and encourage the board to protect existing buffers. And they're out of California, which is probably why they sent a letter.
Can you go back to the picture?
Yes, it's up there right now.
Point to us. I don't
This
see it
is
on my
their
screen.
property
Okay.
right here.
Where is it? Oh, right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
right across the street. So,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. Presentation by the applicant or their legal representative.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ms. Edgar, Mr. Baxter, Valerie Shannon on behalf of GHC's, GHZ Property LLC. The project address is West 146, but the actual face side of the project is on Quality Place. The application for variance docket number OC-25-02. The variance requests are a 25-foot side yard variance, a 25-foot front yard parking variance, and a 30-foot front yard building variance. This allows for the best placement of 2 flexible industrial buildings on the parcel, which is now vacant. You've taken a look at the development plan. This is Quality Place. So just to kind of orient you a little bit more, and I had the same kind of overhead that she had, but we can. This is Highway 146 running out here. This is the old Rego building, which is now Stinger Equipment. And so this is Quality Place, the road back to the YMCA. And so this little corner right here is what we are talking about in terms of needing the variances along this side edge and then the front road frontage on Quality Place, just to make that a little bit clearer because I know it's a little confusing. Just to give you kind of an overview before we get into all the technical stuff, this is kind of what the anticipated build-out would look like. It's certainly approximately the same size, same height. You would have on the front of the property kind of mixed use, overhead storage or overhead doors, light office, kind of light industrial usage in that front building. The parking would be mostly for vans, if there are any employees there, passenger cars, those kinds of vehicles. The back, so that's the anticipated build out, what that's would kind of look like there in the front. The back is a little bit different in terms of what kind of businesses it would serve. It is anticipated that the 2 buildings would match. They would have the same dual color scheme. The one in the back, however, would have loading docks. So in order to have loading docks, they've got to have this space to be able to turn around larger trucks and get larger trucks in and out. Just for the board's consideration, at this point, the proposed tenant in this back lot is light industrial. It's fabrication for things like trade shows, set designs for trade shows and that kind of thing. It's not anticipated that either one of these buildings, although it's zoned I-2 heavy industrial, would be used for some kind of heavy industrial manufacturing. You wouldn't probably be looking at things like overnight shifts. Most of this is kind of 9 to 5, in and out, a lot of passenger cars, light vans, and maybe some larger delivery trucks in the back. So just to give you a couple more views in the sunshine, this is looking at the Rego building from 146 in Quality Place. So this spot is right behind that. And you see looking from Rego, or looking from the corner edge of the property, there's that gravel area that we were looking at, looking back up the hill toward Rego. Then this is a view from the other direction. This is a view of the carriage house buildings here. If you look at the property a little bit more in depth from where you're standing out on Quality Place, you've got a whole line of trees here along the side edge between carriage house and the lot that we're proposing the development on. In the back, what you have is the really, really large carriage house industrial complex in the back. That's their manufacturing facility. You can see the tank cars here in the back. There's an easement that includes all of these trees. There's also, it's a little difficult to see. I might have a better picture of it, but there's also a spur line that comes around behind Rego, where Rego used to do its own manufacturing and require tank deliveries. So there's a spur line here at the back as well. You can see there's a natural swale here off to the side. The property goes downhill from here, and it goes downhill from here into that swale. Here's another view kind of letting you see how this side of the tract lies. So you're going downhill here and you're going downhill here. On this side, our property line comes right to the edge almost of the asphalt. So that riprap and that culvert are on this particular tract. So when we're talking about a 10-foot setback on this side, you have quite a few feet of private drive leading before you hit the warehouses here for carriage house. So again, with the development plan, in the front, we're planning on bringing in light passenger vehicles, delivery vans, with a building with overhead doors and flex space for perhaps offices. In the back, something a little more substantial in terms of usage with the loading docks. And like I said, we need some truck turnaround here. You saw the swale that runs down the middle of this property. Along this side, you have all of these trees. The intention is, and we have it marked on this plan as having a detention basin here, but after really going out and looking at the property, it makes a lot more sense to do some detention work here to avoid removing all of this tree screening in the back. That way, when you look at this piece of property from Quality Place into the property, what you will see is the two buildings, the parking lots, and then in the back, green space and the trees. If you look down this road right here, and if you look behind here, you really get a view of that whole carriage house complex in the back. You've got big cooling towers that are seated right here. You've got all the loading tanks for the tanker train here. So it's not a great view if you take down those trees. So it's our intention to preserve as many of those trees as possible and keep that screening in place. So we are asking a 25-foot variance for side yard and minimum from the minimum side yard setback of 35 feet. This allows the buildings to be placed so that the rear building can supply loading docks with large truck turnaround and parking. As I've discussed, the property falls away from the Stinger building, and then again from the property line to the adjacent carriage house building. This allows the buildings to be placed on the most usable flat portion of the property at the front and conserves the green cover at the rear of the lot. This also helps us avoid the easements at the rear of the building for railroads and spur tracks. That's a condition that has existed long, long before our zoning ordinances were ever enacted. And it is the 10-yard request, the 25-foot side yard variance, in no way is an impingement on the use of the driveway by carriage house. I would also note that with respect to this building, when you look at it from Quality Place, even though we're requesting a 70-foot variance from the 100-foot requirement here, we are still behind the front corner of this particular building. Not only are we behind that front corner, but now that particular building also has kind of a permanent fencing structure. So we're actually going to start our buildings back behind this particular building. So the neighboring building is already almost on Quality Place after you take into consideration the permanent fencing that they've installed there. So with respect to the front yard setback and the side yard setback, there really isn't an impingement on this particular use to the side. This area in the back and all through here, which also is owned by GHC, is all greenscaped, and nothing's going to change about that. For the front yard parking variance, again, the existing carriage house building is sited closer to Quality Place than the applicant is proposing. This allows the applicant to place the edge of the buildings closer to the property line to open that parking lot to the side. So we can use that extra space in the middle there, the middle of the lot, to turn around the larger trucks. That way we don't have to go all the way to the back of the lot to turn around larger trucks. The property falls away from the Stinger building towards the back, and again from the property line adjacent to carriage house towards the middle, and allows the buildings to be placed on the most usable flat portion of the property and conserves the green cover at the rear of the lot, again avoiding easements at the rear of the building for railroad and spur track. And the same reasoning applies for the front yard variance setback. The comprehensive plan objective LU-1-3 is to encourage development to locate in areas with existing infrastructure and services before moving into less developed areas of the county. This area has been zoned I-2 heavy industrial for a long time, and the infrastructure development and services are available to handle flex industrial space for large trucks and loading docks and/or overhead door and light industrial uses. The existing parcel is vacant and can be built out without requiring the applicant to change development plans to a less suitable site if the variances are granted. Sorry. Objective LU-3-2 focuses new commercial and workplace development in designated area. The development plan is consistent with the existing development in the area and is compatible with the scale and character of the area. Objective number LU-3-1 of the comprehensive plan supports existing business retention and growth compatible with adjacent land uses and the availability of community facilities and services. This site and planned use is compatible with adjacent land uses and services. It's supported by easy expressway access and available utilities. Finally, the variances allow for the maximized development of the vacant parcel to support the tax base of the county and provide additional job opportunities in a area of high adjacent residency. The variance allows the applicant to place the buildings in such a way as to conserve natural tree cover and green space at the back of the parcel and limit the impact of the downhill slope from the Stinger Building and the Carriage House buildings to concentrate that swale into a detention basin in the middle back of the property. The applicant needs to build toward the front and flat side of the lot to create minimal impact on the CSX rail spurs. And the existence of these easements and spurs, coupled with the sloping nature of the property of the lot, do create a unique circumstance that discourages reasonable use of the property towards the back of the property. Granting the variance requests are not going to change the essential character of the existing area. At this point, I would take any questions from the board.
So it seems to me that, the reason that you're not moving it back further is because of the slope at the back of the property?
Correct.
The
The
elevation?
swale goes, I think probably this picture shows it the best. You've got a large change in elevation here.
Yeah, that one I see, or I understand, yeah.
And this comes down into kind of a swale area here. And so as originally on the
side.
plans,
Is that the back or the side?
this is the side.
Okay.
Yeah. So originally, we were looking at, the way it was drawn was the detention basin would go back on the back corner of this. But really, after taking a look at the building, you can see through here all of the carriage house development in the back. Right. All those trees in the back are really nice, and it's probably a good idea to keep them. And so, one of the concerns that was expressed was of the residential across the street, and we're certainly not intending to create some kind of nuisance or problem with them. There's a lot of industrial right there on them as it is now, with heavy trucks running in and out. We're not talking about that kind of manufacturing. This isn't a duplication of something like Carriage House, as busy as it is. As I said, this is kind of light overhead door industrial flex space. This is as well, but with the loading docks, we would anticipate some larger trucks coming in and out of here. Would it be semi-tractor trailers? Possibly. Would that be something that was really frequent with the proposed tenant that we have? Probably not so much. I would imagine more straight carriage delivery vehicles back in the back there. So if we go back here, we're limited in what we can do with respect to the easements that we have for the spur track and the CSX line. Would require us to take down a whole lot more trees rather than just moving this detention basin over here. Like I said, this is all green here, and I anticipate that when we get into the landscape and lighting design, that's a place where we can be really sensitive to the fact that across from us are folks who have some, concerns about what this is going to look like. So the development, yes, so siding towards the front avoids some really unique circumstances that exist on the back of this building site.
So that, what's it called here? The proposed 15-foot Oldham County Water District easement. Does that connect to the detention pond then, or?
I'm sorry.
It's,
Can I have Mr. Van Zandt sworn in so that he can answer that question?
yeah.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Bob Vincent. I'm a surveyor and engineer here for this project. Address is 1000 Cherrywood Place, Suite 200, LaGrange. That easement that you're referring to there, Mr. Furkel, was in place for the original Rego building. At the end of it is a fire hydrant, and there's no connection between it and the detention basin. It's just an underground water line that was in place, and it was probably for fire protection is why it was put in there.
So you could move the building all the way back to there, right? I guess?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
You could move the building back further, other than the trees and maybe some
Well, there's
elevation.
topographic constraints. The property falls off back there, so it's going to be more difficult to build that back building and the turnaround space. We also, because of the amount of pavement and buildings that we have, we're creating impervious surface. And, this is a schematic. We haven't got in too deep on the design aspect of it, but we're trying to preserve that area so that we can create a detention basin that's not too obtrusive, that we can save the trees. And that space back there is the best place for it.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Do you have a topographic map of the plot?
I'm sorry, I do not have one.
Okay.
That's not a part of the
Okay.
required application.
Sure, but it is something I'd love to consider. And another question, about how many employees would this include? How many trucks per day?
How many trucks per day?
Yeah, and how many employees would be at the site?
A lot of that's going to be dependent upon the tenants that are there.
Okay.
This is the front, as I said, the front building is kind of anticipated to have this kind of setup where you've got overhead doors and you have some light office space. So maybe you have a couple of vans loading and unloading during the day. And then you would have some office space for perhaps an owner, an administrative assistant, maybe one other employee or some of the contractors that are coming in and out. In the back, do you have any idea? Can I have Mr.
Yeah.
This is Jason Greer. He's one of the members of AHC Properties LLC.
Need you?
Raise your hand.
Jason Greer, 1700 Granville Drive, LaGrange, Kentucky.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
The second building in the back is a fabrication company. They're only going to have, I think right now they only have like 12 employees. And the coming and going of the traffic is not going to be significant because they basically fabricate things, they put them on the trailer. Oh, and sorry, and they put them on the trailer and get everything locked down before they take off for wherever they're going. They travel to Chicago, everywhere. So it's more of a thing where they maybe would build something for 2 weeks, get it ready, and then they ship off to the expo of some sort. They do new car shows, a lot of events like
Trade show.
Louder Than Life.
So they're building trade show booths?
Trade show stuff.
Okay.
And so they basically, that's why we're asking for, where we're building the building so tall, they basically want to have the trailers, it's not tractor trailers, they're like a low boy type trailer. They build the trade show stuff on the trailer, lock it down, and then when it's time to leave to go to the trade show, they're ready to go. Where they're currently now, what they're having to do is build it, get it loaded on the trailer on weather, because of weather, and then take off. They're trying to be able to just consolidate all that. So,
Yep. Have you done calculations for number of parking places required for the site?
I'm sorry.
Have you done any calculations for the number of parking spots that are required?
No, that would be something with planning and zoning that I believe we would have to.
Okay.
The number of spaces that are shown on there, again, is schematic, but it is based on the square footage of the building. There's so many required based on the square footage of the building.
So the ones that are on the side of the front building, those couldn't just be removed or eliminated to narrow the building, or sorry, to basically shift the building over and eliminate the side yard setback?
We need those spaces, yes.
Okay.
Okay, we're out of time for this phase of the process. So we've done the questions of the board. So testimony from anyone speaking in favor of the applicant. And then testimony from anyone speaking opposing the applicant. So we received the letter, so we have that. Anybody else? No? Okay. Rebuttal by the applicant. Anything, guys? Okay. And then final statements from the applicant or opposition. You have any final statements?
I just would say that as this development plan was put together, there were some careful considerations made of the unique situation of this site, the existing zoning, the existing types of businesses that are located around it, and that by siting the buildings at the front of the lot is the best use of this property it's the best configuration for what the developer wants to do with it. It also has the added benefit of continuing to screen from any view from Quality Place the larger industrial complex behind it, which is Carriage House. And that's all I would say. Thank you so
Okay.
much for your time and attention
you.
this morning.
Okay, final questioning by the board of any party?
I'm just going to put the conditions of approval, since I did add that one for the landscaping and lighting plan. So they will have to follow our landscaping and lighting rules, which comes to parking, screening, anything like that. If they're unable to follow that, then they would go to planning commission for a waiver there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then we're closing the floor for discussion and opening for discussion among the board. Comments?
I'm not fully convinced that a 30-foot movement of the buildings back into the lot would create that much of a problem. I mean, they would still have 120 feet of trees roughly behind the buildings to obscure the view of Carriage House. And I think that would also give them more space to work with as far as landscaping goes, to actually improve the view in front of the building too. Sorry.
It is an industrial site too, so I'd say it pretty well goes along with the area.
Yeah, based on my knowledge of that area, this is pretty consistent with what's on that street already.
It kind of sounds like the elevation is, kind of the site engineer, site designer, I guess, has kind of optimized it. In my mind, it sounds like, based on the testimony I've heard here, even though I haven't seen an elevation, it would have been nice, you're right, to see.
Or more
kind of
pictures.
An elevation kind of map or plan. It would have made that decision easier, but based on their testimony, it sounds like it's the best layout for the area, put it that way. That's what I'm hearing.
As far as the side yard, I think that's totally acceptable given the circumstance and given the dimensions of the lot.
Right.
Sorry?
Just given the dimensions of the lot, I think the side yard variance is acceptable specifically.
Yeah, I would think both of them would be. Yeah, all three of them.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, then at this point, I guess we're ready for a motion. Pardon me? I think we can do it all in one. Do we do three? Do we need three?
Yeah, because each one's a separate request. Each one's a separate request for, so you've got the proposed side yard setback variance that they want to go from 35 down to 10, so the variance request is for 25 feet. You've got, they're the same, they're going to be the same things. I think Anna did not duplicate them in your packet, but you need to make three different motions.
Three separate motions?
Yes, sir.
Can we incorporate the reasons without repeating all of them with each motion? Does that work, or?
If the reasoning's the same, sure.
Okay, all right. So, we're ready for the first motion about the proposed side yard setback variance of 25 feet.
For OC 25-32, move to approve the variance of 25 feet for the side yard setback variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations because of testimony heard during today's hearing and because it matches the general character of the area. And because it's required because of the lot dimensions. Sorry. As far as conditions of approval, the variance shall only apply to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing, and that the there will also be a landscaping and lighting approval required for the site plan.
Okay, thank you. And discussion?
Second.
Or second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion, that carries. So now for the proposed front yard building setback variance of 30 feet. I'm sorry?
Did he say no?
Did someone
No,
say?
no, no, I'm not opposed.
No, it was unanimous. Yes, thank you. So the proposed front yard building setback variance, requesting a variance of 30 feet.
So for OC 2532, I move to approve the variance of 30 feet for the front yard building setback variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations because of testimony seen today showing that the topography of the plot is best suited by this layout. As far as conditions of approval, the variance shall only apply to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing, and the site will be subject to landscape and lighting approvals.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. And the proposed front yard parking setback variance of 25 feet.
For OC 2532, move to approve the variance of 25 feet for the front yard parking setback variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulation because of the site topography requiring the building to be set further forward. And as far as conditions of approval, the variance shall only apply to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing, and will also be required to have a landscaping and lighting plan approval.
Second.
Second? Got a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Before we start the next one, can I ask for a 5-minute break?
Say again?
Yeah, I have a 5-minute break.
5-minute break?
Motion to recess for 5 minutes.
Second?
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have a 5-minute break at 10:30. Okay, thank you. There he is. All right, let's go. All right, we're ready to go.
Motion to come back into session.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. OC 25-33, Mr. Secretary.
An application has been requested requesting a road frontage variance for property located at 6315 West Highway 42 in Goshen.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman again, and members of the board. An application has been filed requesting a road frontage variance for a newly proposed 2.09 acre lot located at 6315 West Highway 42 in Goshen. The zoning is AG1 Agricultural District and CO1 Conservation District. Land use is residential. The acreage is 39.5 in totality right now. For our site history, in June of 2022, a building permit was issued for the barn dominium as the primary residence on the property. Subsequently, in the same year, a new primary residence was constructed, at which point the applicant applied for a CUP for the current existing detached ADU. In November of 2022, excuse me, that conditional use permit and locational variance for detached accessory dwelling units were approved by the Oldham County Board of Adjustments on docket OC 22-040. For our case history, the agenda was posted to the planning website on the 24th of July. Adjoining property owner notices were mailed on the same day, and public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on the 31st of July, all of 2025. We have the lot in discussion and the zoning. The applicant has proposed creating a new 2.009 acre tract or acre lot known as proposed tract 2. The applicant has stated that the division is necessary in order to put the residual land into a family trust. The residual tract number 1 is 37.474 acres. Here we have the proposed plat with the house residence, current primary residence, as its own lot with the deeded access easement, and then the residual tract, I believe the applicant will speak to, is what they're proposing putting into a family trust. On that is the detached ADU that's currently permitted right down here. Sections 020-020 and 030-020 state that the required road frontage for property zoned AG1 or CO1 that is 2.5 acres or less is 150 feet. The newly proposed tract 2 would have 0 feet of road frontage, therefore requiring a 150-foot road frontage variance. The residual tract 1 will have 343 feet of road frontage. We have photos from the road from 42 looking into the property. Here we have the barn dominium in discussion. This is the ADU. The applicant was kind enough to let me come out and make a site visit. There is a living space inside of there. Just didn't want to photograph inside of it as it's somebody's living space. Kind of looking towards the house, showing the farm. And the barn and the living space in question. For the minimum road frontage, we have the 150 feet for lots 2.5 acres or less, CO1 and AG1. And in summary, the applicant is requesting a 150-foot road frontage variance for the newly proposed 2.007 acre tract number 2. The required road frontage would be 150 feet. The requested road frontage is 0 feet. Therefore, the variance requested would be 150 feet. Potential conditions of approval would be that the road frontage variance shall only apply to the plan considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing, and that a minor plat must be submitted to the Oldham County Department of Planning and Development Services to be approved at the staff level. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make sure I understood the picture correctly because you went through them kind of fast.
Excuse me.
The white house that sets back is the one that's going to be track 2 that we're looking to do the variance for?
Yes, correct.
All right. Thank you. Presentation by the applicant?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
I'm Andrea Hauser.
I'm Chris Hauser, and we're just doing some preparing for our family, and we're asking to
Your address?
take the house and for
Your address, please.
Oh, 6315 West Highway 42, Goshen, 40026.
Okay.
And we're just wanting to put the majority of our land in a trust, Kentucky Community Trust. So the barn was actually being built when we bought the land. So, and then we built our house.
I'm not sure that it matters, but I'd like to know, is the barn, I mean, I saw a lot of vehicles sitting out there. Is it used for some business purpose?
Just agricultural.
Okay.
We do have a business home office, but it's for storage and for ornamental plants.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Testimony by anyone speaking in favor of the applicant? Anyone opposed? Okay, we can skip over rebuttals. Probably any final statements that you want to make? Nope, okay. Final questioning by the board? Anybody? Okay, closing the floor for discussion and opening for discussion among the board.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, just so we are clear about this, Mr. and Mrs. Hauser, can you all come back up here? Just, I want to make sure we've got a good record about this. You filed an application, and that application has page 2 on it, and page 2 has your justification statement, right? Somebody typed that out, and you all have submitted that as your justification for why you need this, correct?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, this is a form that gets filed with your application, so somebody's handwriting, maybe. Okay, all right, so.
I apologize.
That's okay. So there's an application that got filed by Mr. Vincent, helped you with that. And I just want to make sure that the justifications that are listed on here, you're incorporating into your testimony, so it's something that could be relied upon by the board in making a determination.
I guess because it says subdivide, is that your question?
Well, so.
I'm trying to figure out what you're looking.
Well, what I'm asking for, there's a justification statement that's included, okay? And Mr. Vincent helped you with that? I did. And I just want to make sure that you are relying upon that and that the board can rely upon that. I'm looking for you to just tell me that that's part of your sworn testimony.
Yes, yeah. According to our our everybody that we've talked to, that's what we need to do.
Okay, and I just want to make sure that so the board needs something to be able to rely upon to make this determination. Okay, so in addition to the testimony that you gave, this is something that they can look at because you're saying you've incorporated that into your testimony, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Barry, for that clarification. Okay, any other discussion among the board members? All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
Hang on a second. I mean, I just want to make sure that in the new deeds, when they're written, that there is an easement that runs with the land to make sure there's always access to this property, that no matter what happens to the parcel 1, parcel 2 will always have access.
I've been sworn. I from the am I okay? You need my address again?
Name and address.
Okay, Bob Vincent, Vincent Engineering Land Surveying, 1000 Cherrywood Place, Suite 200, LaGrange. So as a part of the minor plat process, we will, which is this document plus a lot more information that will be included, we will have all the dimensions and everything on that access and utility easement. And as a part of that process also, even though it's with themselves, they will have to have a maintenance agreement that will be filed with the minor plat. It's a maintenance agreement with themselves, which seems strange, but that is a part of the requirement.
So in other words, Mr. Vincent, if they sold the property if they ever sold the 2-acre property, they would end up having a maintenance agreement between the new owner of the 2-acre property and the owner of the existing portion of the farm.
That is correct. And that's why we have that in place. We didn't used to do that, but we have it in place now.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion or question? Ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance for the 150-foot road frontage variance for Oldham County 25033. I move to approve the variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, and will not essentially alter the essential character of the general vicinity, not create a hazard of nuisance to the public, and allow unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning requirements, because applicant wants to make a place his land in future family use. Also goes by the application for the variance as needs on it. Conditions of approval: the road frontage variance will apply only to the application considered in July 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments Board public hearing. The minor plat application survey must be submitted to staff for review and approval prior to the issuance of the building permits.
Maybe we can amend the motion to include the, in terms of the requirements of the zoning regulations, because of the testimony, which includes the written application for the justification in the written application.
Yeah, I mentioned that, but yeah, it's in there.
Does that work?
Very good.
Good. Good.
Second.
Have a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, OC 25-34.
Application has been filed requesting a location variance for an accessory structure in front of a primary structure for a property located at 2804 Valley View Court in LaGrange.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner, Board. Sandy Roden, Oldham County Planning, Planner 1. An application has been filed requesting a location variance for an accessory structure in front of a primary structure located at 2804 Valley View Court, LaGrange. The property is zoned R-2 and CO-1. The land use is residential. It's 5.5 acres. There is no site history. The agenda was posted to the planning website on July 24th. Adjoining property owners' notices mailed on July 24th, and notice appeared in the Oldham Era on July 31st, 2025. Here is the aerial of the property, and here is the zoning, the R2 and the CO1. You see the house, and the garage will be up here in the R2 area. The applicant is requesting a 40 feet by 40 feet detached garage to be placed in front and to the side of the primary structure. The applicant states that the accessory structure will not be accessible as a garage if it's located somewhere other than where they are proposing. And there are topographic issues that almost limit where the garage can be located. The proposed accessory structure meets the standards of Section 250-030, accessory uses and structures, except for item E. No accessory use or structure shall be located in between the principal building and the front yard property line. Accessory structures shall adhere to street side yard setbacks. The proposed accessory structure will be approximately 37 feet from the front yard property line. The minimum front yard setback in R-2 is 35 feet. So this is hard to see. If you look at the parcel, these lines right here that show easements, that is not where it actually goes. It actually is these black lines right here are the utility easement, and then it goes back here to the telephone pole and utility box. So this actually goes down here, and the garage is going to be located over here. This kind of makes it a little bit easier to see. You can see where the house is. There's a 76 feet difference between where the utility line is, where the house is, and the garage will be located back here. Here is the code for the street setbacks and also the setbacks for the R2 zone. The applicant is requesting a location variance to allow the placement of an accessory structure in front of the primary structure. Potential conditions of approval include the variance shall only apply to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. And 2, the applicant shall obtain all necessary building permits and inspections from the appropriate agencies. Questions?
So the Valley View Court, is that partially an unimproved road that the county has right of way for?
I am not sure about that. I'm not sure if the applicant would know.
That works. I was just asking if Valley View Court is partially an unimproved road with right-of-way belonging to the county.
We need to have you sworn in first before you can answer that, so. What?
Just hang tight.
Yeah.
Well,
you need to ask the applicant that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right. Any other questions for Sandy? Thank you. Okay. Okay, now testimony from the applicant. Need your name and address and be sworn in.
Tony Caramy, 2804 Valley View Court, LaGrange, Kentucky.
Raise your right hand.
031.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've actually maintained that road off of Old Highway 53 for the last 30 years, basically. The county's never done anything to it. Past my house, where the dotted lines are, it's just grassy area that I maintain. And I own the property on both sides of that dotted line. So county's never really done anything with it. The county has never really done anything with that road. For the longest time, we didn't even know it was a real road. But I've maintained and I paved that road years ago. Where the dotted line is, it's just all grass, a grass area. It goes to supposedly a cul-de-sac, basically. But I maintain that area as well. I cut the grass and keep it trimmed. And I own the property on both sides of it. They're like 3 5-acre lots.
I'm sorry, I'm still confused on exactly where this is going on. Can we pull up the pictures?
So if you see right here, here's the house, here's that utility
Right.
line, and here's where the garage is going to go.
And where's the driveway?
It's really hard to see in this picture. You have to go.
It's kind of by the utility or that,
So right in this area right here, right?
Yes.
That's where the barn's going to go?
Garage.
It's a
Garage.
Yeah. It's kind of behind the house.
it's kind of
but
behind.
It's considered, I guess, the front, depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I'm still trying to figure out, so the driveway goes to Highway 53, right?
Well, that's an existing right-of-way, though, so that's why his address is, what is it, Lake
View.
Valley View. So Valley View is the,
It's that right there.
Oh,
And then
that's Valley
there's
View
also-
there.
So he fronts on Valley View.
I see.
And I've paved it basically over the years, maintained it.
That Valley View ends at your property, correct?
I'm the only house here.
But it's unimproved and the county has right-of-way past the property, however. And there's also a utility easement on both sides, in addition to that.
It goes up like this.
Is there a more recent survey of the site?
I'm sorry?
Is there a more recent survey of the site?
Yeah, I went to, we haven't surveyed the lot, in years and years, we've lived there, but I'm sure it was at one point.
This one.
Yes.
Okay, I think I understand it now.
Yeah.
All right.
How far away from, I guess, the Valley View Court is the existing property, the existing house?
The house is about 76 feet from the line. You can see the house itself. That's the garage, actually. I said my shop, but the house, you see, wraps around. It looks like a half a pentagon. And it's just like, I'm just adding another piece to it.
So
It's going to sit on the back of it.
the garage would be at the very end of Valley View, and
Yes.
and real close to Valley View. All right.
And there's a garage, actually similar building right next door, the other property. Some of the pictures show it. They built that one. Yeah, you see that big black building? That's my neighbor.
Right.
So this is going to be smaller than that.
Is the garage right where that square? There's like a square
Yeah,
right
that
there.
right there,
That's
yeah.
the proposed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the road is actually, like I said, further out than what that yellow line shows.
And what's that white thing? Is that a boat in front of it?
Yeah, that was a boat. That's actually a part of my driveway.
Okay.
The boat's not there anymore, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, not literally. That's why I want to build the garage right there. I can't build it anywhere else that I can have access to.
And that's you call that your driveway, but is Valley View what is Valley View? Is that a county road or is that a private driveway?
I believe it's an unimproved county road.
Unimproved. That's what it would be
Yeah,
called.
we could never get anyone to really come out years ago when we first moved there.
Okay.
We couldn't get anybody to come out and do anything with it. So,
All right.
Yeah.
I think I've got it now. All right.
Sir, where are lots 19 and 18 you mentioned in your application? You said you own lots 19 and 18. Where are they?
They're actually the lot next to it, which goes to the cul-de-sac, and yes, that one. And then it doesn't show it on the property, but the house with the pool, their property line ends actually not too far past the yellow line on this side. So I own the property on back behind them as well. Yeah, it's like 3 lots basically.
And just to inject myself into this again, the justification statement that you filled out?
Yes.
This is in your handwriting?
Yes.
And you adopt that also as your testimony in support of your application here today?
Yes.
Are you aware of any plans for Valley View to be extended from Highway 53 over to Ridgewood or anything like that?
I am not.
Okay.
Back behind it, there's really no way to build anything. It's just a huge, it's like 2 creeks come together, and it's very, very steep. You can't really develop anything on it, and the power lines are going over.
Oh, there's
one
power
section
lines
of it.
back there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think I see the power line. I think I see it now.
Yeah, it's where these black dots are. He's kind of outlined it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a telephone pole that was installed back in the day, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, some of the photos, you can see the foam. And it's pretty obvious that it was meant to be a road back there. I maintain it, but it's kind of sits above everything else. It looks like it can be turned to a road someday if anybody wants it, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough.
All right, thank you.
I don't have any more questions.
Good.
All right. So, testimony from anyone speaking in favor of the application? Anyone opposed? I guess we can skip over questioning or rebuttal of the applicant or the opposition. Any final statements? No. Okay, closing the floor for discussion. And we have discussion among the board.
Seems good.
Straightforward?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're ready for a motion then.
Move to approve OC 25-034, to approve the location variance for this docket, because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations, and because of the topographic constraints of the site, as seen in testimony provided during today's hearing.
And the testimony.
And the written
the
testimony
applicant
provided.
And the justification in the application.
Yep.
Good. Is there a second?
Second.
Are we okay, Barry?
Yes.
Any more discussion?
Do we need to make sure we talk about the conditions of approval?
Thank you. Thank you. The variance shall only apply to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing, and the applicant shall obtain all necessary building permits and inspections from the appropriate agencies.
Good. Thank you, Laura. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. OC 25-35. Mr. Secretary.
An application has been filed requesting a conditional use permit and location variance for a proposed accessory structure for property located at 3706 Brookside Circle in LaGrange.
Hello again. Sandy Regroden, Oldham County Planning. An application has been filed requesting a conditional use permit and location variance for a proposed accessory structure located at 3706 Brookside Circle in LaGrange. The property is zoned AG-1/CO-1. Its land use is residential and it's 7 acres. There's no site history. It was posted to the planning website on July 24, 2025. Adjoining property owners' notices were mailed on July 24, 2025. Public notice appeared in the Oldham Mirror on July 31st, 2025. Here is an aerial of the property. And here is the zoning where it will be placed in the AG1 zoning area. The applicant is requesting a 60 feet by 40 feet detached garage to be placed in front and to the side of the primary structure. The applicant states that the location of the accessory structure is necessary due to the shape of the property and location of the septic system. Section 250-030B states that 2 accessory structures are permitted on parcels over 5 acres. 1 additional structure is allowed with a conditional use permit. Section 250-030 of the Oldham County zoning ordinance states that with parcels greater than 5 acres, there are no size limitations on accessory structures. The proposed accessory structure meets the standards of Section 250-030, accessory uses and structures except for item E. No accessory use or structure shall be located in between the principal building and the front yard property line. Accessory structures shall adhere to street side yard setbacks. So here's somewhat of a drawing of where the new garage is going to go. I have a picture coming up in a minute. You see the house right here. This is an existing barn and an existing storage area. This will be the new garage. Again, these 2 are permitted already on 5 acre, being over 5 acres, those are allowed. The 3rd structure is allowed with a conditional use permit. The location is the issue here. So here's a photo simulation of the new barn, what it would look like from the top. Here is the code 250, special provision, section 250-030. Here is the code for the allowing of the structures. Conditional use permit to allow for a third structure to be placed on the property located at 3706 Brookside Circle, LaGrange. That's the first request. Potential conditions of approval. The variance shall only apply to the application considered at the August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. Number 2, the applicant shall obtain all necessary building permits and inspections from the appropriate agencies. The second request is for an accessory structure location variance. The applicant is requesting an accessory structure location variance to allow the placement of an accessory structure in front of the primary structure. The conditions of approval are the same. The variance shall only apply to the application considered at August 6, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. And number 2, the applicant shall obtain all necessary building permits and inspections from the appropriate agencies. That's it. Questions?
No. Okay, thank you. Testimony from the applicant?
Todd Polston, 3706 Brookside Circle, LaGrange, 40031.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Tell us about your project.
We wanted to put this garage in. We started this back in March, actually, and we had it at this location, and then it was like, well, it's going to cost us additional $225. Like, well, okay, let's move it. So we tried to put it into behind the house, picked out a location there. The property falls off on that side of the house. And we're like, okay, well, we'll put it back here. It's past the septic lines. We'll be good. We had a friend come over who's a retired plumber. He put in septic systems for years, and he said, you can't do that. You can't put a driveway over your lines because your septic system will never work properly. So, okay, so we start all over again, go back to where it's proposed now, in front of the house, basically, in the side yard. So that's where we're at.
So the two structures, so this will be the third structure, right? You have
Correct.
So there's the house, and what else is there right now?
There's a horse barn in the back, and then there's an additional outbuilding to the side.
So we have a variance for the number of buildings, and then also for the location of the building.
Correct.
Okay. And the total acreage is, your total property is 7 acres.
Yes.
Okay. Your application includes justification, written justification that we consider part of your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There is nobody else in the audience here, so probably.
Were there any letters or anything? Any letters of supporting or?
No.
Okay.
So there's nobody here to testify in favor or opposing the applicant, so we can just skip, or if there's any final statements from the applicant. Nope. Okay, we'll close the floor for discussion, have discussion among the board. Questions, comments from the board?
Look good.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Is there a motion then?
I move to approve the Oldham County 25035 application because it it is essential and desirable to the community and not in conflict with the elements, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan based on one or more of the following factors. The character and objectives of the proposed use and potential impacts on the community and its surroundings are appropriate because of the lay of the topography of the land and the application for his variance. The conditions of approval, the conditional permit shall only apply to the application considered on August 6th, 2025, Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing.
Is that the cup that you're, the conditional use permit? Okay, yep.
Second.
And I think we also need to make sure the motion incorporates by reference the applicant's testimony and the justification as outlined in the application.
I mentioned that.
Okay.
All right, I'll second
There's a
that.
second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I agree. We need one for the variance.
Pardon me?
We need a motion for the variance.
Oh, yeah, we got the second one, sorry. The variance, go ahead.
I move that we accept Oldham County 25035 for the variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare and will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity. It will cause a hazard or nuisance to the public and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations because of the topography of the land use and the application for variance submitted to the court.
Okay.
And condition of approval is the variance shall only apply to that application considered in August 6, 2025, Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. The applicant shall obtain all necessary building permits and inspections from the appropriate agencies.
I'd like to specify location variance, not just variance, in the motion.
Yes. Okay, it's a location variance.
Yeah.
Okay. We good?
Good.
Second.
All right, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. It's all approved. Next, we have the minutes from the, what's the date of the meeting? The July 17th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes or any amendments or discussion about the?
Amendment. Let's see if Ryan has. Ryan may have comment.
Right.
Okay. So I know there were some questions on page 8 of 11 on the conditions of approval for the home occupation permit. We went back and looked at the meeting minutes and the actual verbiage that was used on the conditions of approval. And when you get down to number 4, so the question is number 4, the way it's worded in the conditions of approval are the class is Monday through Friday with one class between 9 and 10 and another between 4:30 and 6:30. There will be additional classes on the weekend between 8:30 and 6:30. And so when we went back and listened to the minutes, it's worded, the class schedule will be limited to Monday through Friday between 4:30 and 6:30. And then there was a question that was asked about, is there a maximum we are recommending of 3 classes per day and 3 on the weekend between 8 and 6:30? And then that's what was passed. So once again, this goes back, if we're going to have a little training moment, to make sure when we read these that we get super specific based on the testimony. So I believe, and I think this was Sandy's case, is that there should be, the way it should be worded, I think should be 3 classes per day are allowed between the hours of 8:30 and 6:30.
Okay.
Because I think the way it's worded right now is it, or the way that it was worded in the motion, it eliminates her ability to have classes in the morning, which is what she wanted.
Right.
I think she actually wanted very, very early morning classes, so I think it's 4:30 a.m.
4:30 a.m.? Yeah.
No, I don't remember that either.
Okay.
I think the times are okay. It's just that there were 3.
Yeah. I just think it needs to read, there's 3 classes per day allowed between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m.
That works.
So,
So we'll modify that number 4 in the minutes to
That-
reflect that.
what you understand from that?
From the hearing?
Yeah. Okay.
What you put there is what you initially applied for, but then it was changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think if we make that change
We'll
on that
modify the
verbiage, so it should read, classes are allowed Monday through Friday, 3 classes allowed between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m.
And then one.
And
on the
then
weekend.
3 classes allowed on the weekends between the same hours.
Okay.
So.
So with the amendment to the minutes,
Yep, move to approve the minutes with
motion
the,
to approve, is there a
Second.
second? Second? All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
One abstention from Laura. And so the motion carries. Thank you for clarifying all of that, Ryan. Okay.
And then just a few notes. Next month, we'll be back on our normal schedule. So the 3rd Thursday of the month, we obviously haven't come close to our filing deadline yet. So, but I'm almost certain we'll have cases before you. I talked to a couple of you all on the break that we're going to try to get some training within the next couple months, trying to find a docket that doesn't have a lot on it. Going to have a class come in by our county engineer talking about surveys, and then looking at doing some additional training on motion making and just procedural things. Next month, we will have nominations for, obviously, Bill has been acting as the acting chairman since Larry's departure for the last couple months. So we'll have nominations for the chairman position. And then also, if you all choose to nominate Bill, if you think he's been doing a quality job for 2 months, you all choose to nominate him for chairman, there'll be a position open for vice chairman, and that'll be through the end of the calendar year, and then we'll do that again in December. So be thinking about that. Bill did go and mention Laura Tapp is our new member. So I wrote that down after he didn't do it at the beginning, and then he caught it. So I want to welcome her. So she asked a lot of good questions right out of the gate, so which is nice. Sometimes your first couple months, you're deer in the headlights look. So she took off running. And then just one last note. I know all of you all are probably aware of this, but Jay McDowell, who has been our video person in the back room for ever since I've been here, is leaving to take a new job in West Virginia. So going to be closer to family and home, and he's excited to cheer on his beloved Marshall Thundering Herd, which that's probably the one area we disagree on the most. But I just want to thank him for his years of service. So he has made those meetings accessible to people that don't have to come in here on a 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning. So I know he's not back there today. He's sitting over in his office, so hopefully he's watching this, and we just want to thank him for his service to the Board of Adjustments and all of the other boards that we have through planning and zoning to be able to make this accessible to the public in a format for them when they can't attend. So that's all I have, I think.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Any other new business or old business? No? Okay, motion to adjourn?
We adjourn.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.